Hello guys, so now we shall be discussing regarding what are the ligaments of the female uterus we have got. Okay, so our topic of discussion would be the ligaments of the female uterus. So what are the different ligaments of the female uterus we have got? Basically we have three important ligaments in the female uterus. Okay, so one is called as a broad ligament. One is called as a broad ligament of the uterus. Why? Because it is really broad. And next important thing is the uterine ligament. Next important thing is the uterine ligament. And third important thing is the ovarian ligament. So what are the three important ligaments we have got? One is called as a broad ligament, uterine ligament, as well as the ovarian ligament. Now if you can look at this particular picture over here, you see this particular ligament over here which is located. So this is called as a broad ligament of the uterus. So broad ligament of the uterus is covering where? It is covering your uterus. Okay, and next you have got the ovary over here. Now another important thing you need to know is that first of all, if I will show you where is the uterine ligament and ovarian ligament later on. But now what you need to know is that if you look at the broad ligament is basically broad ligament based upon the location it is covering. It is basically divided into three types. One is called as a mesometrium, another one is called as a mesoovarium, another one is called as a mesosalpinx. Okay, so what is the first one? That is called as a mesometrium. Metrium in the sense the uterus. Next is called as a mesoovarium, and third is called as a mesosalpinx. Now what do you mean by these? What do you mean by this is that mesometrium is the part of the broad ligament which is covering the uterus. Mesoovarium is the part of the broad ligament which is covering the ovary. Mesosalpinx is the part of the broad ligament which is covering the fallopian tube. So that is the reason why it is called as broad ligament. So if you look at this, in this particular coronal plane you cannot see all the structures. But when you take a sagittal plane over here, in this sagittal plane you can very clearly see that if you concentrate on this yellow color part whatever is there here, this is called as your mesometrium. This particular part is called as a mesometrium. Okay, next important thing is that what is mesosalpinx? Mesosalpinx is the part of the broad ligament that is attached to the fallopian. So where is your fallopian tube? This is your fallopian tube. So attached to the fallopian tube you see a green color ligament over there, it means this one, right? So this is called as mesosalpinx. Okay, and finally attached to the ovary from the coronal plane you cannot see this, in the sagittal plane only you can see, from the side only you can see that attached to the ovary also there is a part of the broad ligament that is attached, only a small part. See this small part over here, and this is your ovary, right? This is your ovary. So this small part over here is called as mesoovarium. This is called as your mesoovarium. Okay, so in this way broad ligament is divided into mesometrium, mesoovarium as well as mesosalpinx. Okay, now let us write down the things which we have discussed right now. So what is mesometrium? Yes, what is this particular mesometrium? So mesometrium is the part of the broad ligament that surrounds the uterus, and if you see out of all these which is the largest, all these three which is the largest, and it is the mesometrium is the largest subsection of the broad ligament. So how many subsections are there? There are three subsections, right? Out of these three subsections, mesometrium is the largest one. So mesometrium basically it surrounds the uterus, and it is the largest subsection. It is the largest subsection of the broad ligament of the uterus. Okay, next important thing we have to discuss is mesoovarium. Okay, so what is this particular mesoovarium? Mesovarium is a part of broad ligament that is associated with what? Ovaries or fallopian tube, that is associated with ovaries. So, it is a part of broad ligament associated with ovaries. Okay. And finally, we have got what? We have got mesosalpinx. Okay. So, what is this mesosalpinx? Mesosalpinx encloses your fallopian tubes. Encloses your fallopian tubes. Okay. Right. If you see all the different kinds of ligaments which we basically have here, we shall just look at all these important ligaments over here. Now, in this, this particular ligament which you can see on the top here, this is called as a round ligament of the uterus. So, this particular one is called as your round ligament of uterus. So, this is called as your round ligament of uterus. Just beneath the round ligament of uterus, you know, this structure over here is called as your fallopian tube. So, this one over here is called as your fallopian tube. This is called as your fallopian tube. Now, after fallopian tube, let us discuss about the broad ligament. What did I tell you? Broad ligament is divided into three subsections. One is called as mesosalpinx, another one is called as mesovarium, another one is called as mesometrium, right? So, this part over here is called as mesosalpinx. So, why it is called mesosalpinx? Because this is the part that is associated with your fallopian tube, right? Next one is called as mesovarium. Why it is called mesovarium? You see, because this is the part that is present nearer to the ovary. Okay, another one is called as mesometrium. See, this one is called mesometrium because this is the part that is attached all the way closely to the uterus. So, this is called as mesometrium. So, all these three important things, mesosalpinx, mesometrium as well as mesovarium, these three are called as a broad ligament. These three are called as a broad ligament of the uterus. Now, after that, you have got another ligament over here. This particular ligament is called as your suspensory ligament. Suspensory ligament of your ovary. Okay, suspensory ligament of your ovary. So, if you have watched my video lecture on ovary, I have told you there ovary has got two ligaments, ovarian ligament, another one is called as a suspensory ligament. And where is your ovary? This is your ovary. Okay. Now, attached to the ovary, there are two ligaments I told you, right? For example, if this is the ovary, one ligament is here, another ligament is here. So, this ligament which is on the front is called as a suspensory ligament of the ovary, and one ligament which is on the back is called as a ovarian ligament. Okay. So, what is the name of that ligament? That is ovarian ligament. So, this is your ovarian ligament. You see, this ligament which is on the back is ovarian ligament, the ligament which is on the front is called as your suspensory ligament. Okay. Now, after that, the next important thing is, you see this particular structure over here, this is called as your ureter. So, can I tell that broad ligament is covering the ureter? You see here, broad ligament is covering the ureter here, right? And next important thing is that you even have got another ligament over here. This is called as a cardinal ligament. Cardinal ligament. You see this particular sheath of tissue that is coming down forming a ligament here. This is called cardinal ligament. And within this cardinal ligament, I see an artery and I also see a vein. The artery is called uterine artery and the vein is called as uterine vein. So, this is having two important things. One is called as your uterine artery, another one is called as your uterine vein. Okay, uterine artery as well as uterine vein. Next important thing is that you see this is a ligament that is attached all the way from the uterus, right? All the way it is going down to the sacrum. So, that is why it is called as uterosacral ligament. So, this is called uterosacral ligament. And finally, this part over here is your uterus and this part over here is your vagina. Okay. So, these are some of the important labelings which you definitely have to know about this. Okay. Right. Now, after this, Let us now discuss what are the three ligaments that are in association with the broad ligament. This entire yellow color thing is your broad ligament. So attached to this broad ligament, there are three other ligaments that are in association. Now you tell me by looking at this picture, what are the three ligaments that are association with the broad ligament? Association in the sense which are attached to the broad ligament. See, one I can tell is ovarian ligament. See, look at this ovarian ligament over here, right? So one is your ovarian ligament. Ovarian ligament is attached underneath the ovarian ligament. What is it? This yellow color sheet, that is nothing but called as your broad ligament. Next, on the other side also, suspensory ligament is also attached, right? So ovarian and suspensory, and also here if you see round ligament of uterus, okay, round ligament of uterus. So there are three important ligaments: ovarian ligament, another one is called as round ligament, and suspensory ligament. So these are the three ligaments that are in association with the broad ligament. So if you write down the list, ligaments in association with the broad ligament. What are the ligaments that are in association with the broad ligament? The first important one is ovarian ligament. Ovarian ligament, and the second important one is round ligament of uterus. Right, and the third important thing is the suspensory ligament of ovary. Third important thing is your suspensory ligament of ovary. And remember one thing, the other name that is given for the suspensory ligament of ovary is infundibulopelvic ligament. Infundibulopelvic ligament. Now let us look at what are the ligaments that are in association with your ovary. So association with the ovary, you know, one is in the front, one is in the back. The ligament that is attached in the front is your ovarian ligament, on the back it is your suspensory ligament of ovary. So for the note, let us just write it down that what are the ligaments in association with the ovary. So ligaments in association with the ovary are two. One is called as a suspensory ligament. Another one is called as a ovarian ligament. Suspensory ligament as well as the ovarian ligament, right? So in this picture also, which is suspensory and which is ovarian? See, this one over here is called as the ligament of ovary. Okay, and this one over here is called as your suspensory ligament. Suspensory ligament and ligament of your ovary. Now let us see what are the ligaments that are associated with the uterus. So we finished what are the ligaments that are associated with the ovaries. Now we will discuss about what are the ligaments that are in association with the uterus. With the uterus, so if you look from a superior aspect, there are two ligaments. If you look from the middle aspect, there are two ligaments. Okay. So let us see what are the ligaments that are located from the superior aspect as well as the middle aspect. So let us write down the ligaments associated with the uterus. Ligaments associated with the uterus. Now in the ligaments that are associated with the uterus, first important thing is the superior aspect. Now in the superior aspect, what is the important thing you see? One is called as a broad ligament. One is called as a broad ligament, another one is called as your round ligament. Another one is called as your round ligament. Next important thing, in the middle aspect. If you look at the middle aspect, in the middle aspect, what are the two ligaments? One is called as a cardinal ligament. I have already shown you, right? Cardinal ligament. And what is the important thing in the cardinal ligament? I have told you cardinal ligament is also having uterine artery and uterine vein. And next we discuss about the uterosacral ligament. And one last important ligament here is that is called as a pubocervical ligament. Okay, that is called as pubocervical ligament. So how many ligaments totally? We have got 3 ligaments plus 2, 5 ligaments over here, and we have seen all these ligaments over here. You know where is the round ligament, you know where is the broad ligament, cardinal ligament. Only ligament which I cannot show it to you in this picture is your pubo-cervical ligament. Okay. Now, if you look at the round ligament, one important MCQ you need to know is that round ligament is a remnant of what? It is a remnant of embryonic gubernaculum. Okay. So, if you have studied the embryology, there you will see the structure called as gubernaculum. So, this is a remnant of embryological gubernaculum. Okay, this is a remnant of embryological gubernaculum. Now, if you look at this cardinal ligament, there is also another name that is given for this cardinal ligament, that is called as McEnroth's ligament. Okay, so what is another name that is given for this cardinal ligament? That is called as McEnroth's ligament. Okay, McEnroth's ligament. Now, from the lower surface, right, from the inferior view, if you look at the ligaments, all the ligaments which I have told you, even this pubo-cervical ligament which you cannot see also, I will show these ligaments right now. So, for this what you need to do, you need to look at the picture from the inferior view. Okay. So, from the inferior view, how does the picture look? We shall look into that. So, from the inferior view, this is how it looks. This is from the lower surface, right? On the top here you have got urinary bladder. This is your urinary bladder. Just beneath that urinary bladder you have got your cervix. This is your cervix, and back here you have got your rectum, R for rectum. Okay. Now, in the center over here, you have got a ligament like this. Okay. Now, this ligament is vertical or it is transverse. This ligament is completely transverse, right? So, this is called as transverse ligament, or you can also call it as cardinal ligament. So, this particular ligament over here is called as your transverse ligament, or you can call it as cardinal ligament. Okay. So, this particular ligament over here is your transverse. This one over here is transverse ligament or cardinal ligament. Transverse ligament or cardinal ligament. Okay. Next important thing is that I told you about pubo-cervical ligament. So, this is that ligament. So, from the cervical region all the way up, right. So, this ligament over here which is present on both the sides, this particular ligament over here is called as your pubo-cervical ligament. So, this particular ligament over here is called as your pubo-cervical ligament. Pubo-cervical ligament, and the last ligament is uterosacral ligament. Okay. So, this would be that uterosacral ligament all the way like this. Okay. So, this particular ligament over here is called as your uterosacral ligament. So, what are the different ligaments which you can see over here? One is called as a pubo-cervical transverse ligament or cardinal ligament. Another one is called as your uterosacral ligament. So, this is all you need to know regarding the ligaments of the female uterus, guys. So, thank you so much for watching my video. Goodbye.